Hello and welcome. This is yoga and meditation for your back. I'm Rebecca, and I am a certified yoga therapist and an oncology yoga teacher. Welcome to this session of yoga and meditation for your back. Yoga can help you improve your strength and flexibility, and at the same time, address some imbalances. My advice during class is that if anything feels bad in your body, now I'm not talking about the effort of strengthening or a good gentle stretch, but pain. If you feel pain during class, please stop, go back to something we did before, wait for an alternative, or just rest until we move on to the next thing. Okay, for today's class, you'll need a yoga mat, a chair, a bolster, which is like a pillow, a heavy pillow, some yoga blocks, and either a folded blanket or a very flat pillow. Oh, yes, and you'll also need a strap. And for a yoga strap, if you don't have one, a good alternative is the tie from your robe. So something like that that's long. And what it does is it helps you to extend your reach. We are going to start today supine. So lying on your back. Have your props handy, and I will meet you at the back. Okay, so we're starting here on our backs. So make your way carefully onto your back. Now, I will try to lead you through transitions, but since we're all in different places, I ask you to please be responsible for your own practice and get yourself where you need to go safely and comfortably. I'll do my best to lead. All right, coming down onto your back. I had a teacher who called this couch pose, where we lie on our side and slide out and then make our way onto our backs. So bring your feet close to your body. Your feet and knees should be about hip distance apart. Allow your arms to relax and take a moment to arrive. Have some gratitude for yourself for showing up for yoga, for taking the time to do this class and take care of yourself. Take a moment to notice what is present for you as you come onto your mat. What is coming up? What are the thoughts and emotions? What are the sensations that you're noticing? And with great compassion, welcome everything that's present. Everything is welcome here in class. So let's take a moment to feel the ground beneath us. You may notice different textures. Maybe if you're on a yoga mat or if you're on the floor, you'll feel that. Maybe I have a yoga mat and then my wood floor, and the textures are quite different. Notice the sensation of your clothing against your skin. What is the temperature in your room? Can you feel some air flow moving around? Is there light, sun? What are the sounds that you hear beyond the sound of my voice? Can you determine if they're close by or further away? Steady or intermittent? And then begin to turn your attention more deeply inward to the feeling of your own breath. Without changing it, without judging your breath, just notice it. Choose one place where you feel the breath, maybe at the tip of your nose or the back of your throat, and stay with that sensation for a couple of inhales and exhales. We use our sensations as a way of staying in the present moment. Much less of a chance of injury and much more fulfillment from our practice if we allow ourselves to be present. See if you can soften your body with each exhale, noticing as you do that the places that are tight. Where are you holding yourself? And can you soften just a little bit more with each exhale, letting the floor support you for these first moments of class? Letting go through your feet, your legs and hips, your low belly and your low back, your middle body, your chest, and the space between your shoulder blades. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears, your arms supported. Unclench your fists. Relax through your neck and jaw and soften the muscles of your face. Smooth out, there's the word I was looking for. Smooth out your forehead and soften the crown of your head. We'll take just a few breaths right here. And as we begin to come into some movement, I invite you to open your eyes or keep them closed, whatever serves you best. But we are in a wakeful practice, so sometimes eyes open helps. So again, with your feet on the mat, your feet and legs about hip distance apart, your arms down at your sides, and nothing underneath your head for this next part, let's begin to move the spine. Inhaling here, as you exhale, gently press into your feet and see if you can flatten the curve of your lower back. As you inhale, we'll do the opposite movement and drop the tailbone down towards the mat and let that curve come back. You might even exaggerate it very gently. And next exhale, use your feet on the ground to help you tilt your pelvis, smoothing and flattening your lower back. And as you inhale, opposite motion. Now, the pelvis, keep going as I talk. The pelvis is sometimes referred to as the pelvic clock. Imagine it's a circle. And right now, it's an analog clock, not digital. And right now, we're moving between 12 and 6. So 12 at the top and 6 at the bottom. Come through the center and then see if you can go between 3 and 9. So pressing one hip down and then the other. And just notice if one side feels a little more restricted or a little more open and free. Come back to center. And now we're going to go around the clock face. So press into 12 and then begin to circle as if you were going around the edges of a clock. And you can go clockwise or counterclockwise. And just choose the right speed so that you can notice. That's what we're doing here is we're beginning to observe what is present. Maybe loosen up a little bit. Reverse direction if you haven't already. Continue circling just a few more times. And then coming back through center and just a couple of 12 and 6. Beautiful. Come to stillness. You might feel like you'd like to draw your knees up, maybe rock a little bit. And then release your legs back down. Now we're going to come into an exercise that helps us to engage our lower abdominal muscles, particularly the transversus abdominis. It's a deep muscle that wraps all the way around. It's sometimes called our corset muscle. So bring your hands to your low belly, and we're going to do a shh breath. So we'll inhale together and then shh for a long exhale. And see if you can feel what's happening in your belly as you shh. Okay, we'll inhale together. Did you feel some engagement in your low belly? We'll try it again. And if you didn't feel it, imagine that you're like trying to blow out a candle. So it's a little bit of energy into the shh. Okay, we'll inhale together, hands on the low belly. So this breath helps us to get the support of our abdominal muscles. We're going to do some leg exercises and we're going to use the breath to help engage so that we're using our abdominal muscles to control some of the leg movement. Okay, so neutral pelvis, don't let that big curve come in, but you don't have to flatten either. Try and be in a nice neutral position with your pelvis. And we're going to do some heel slides. So we'll inhale in a moment and then slide out with your leg along the mat, maybe pressing out through your heel. And then we'll pause for a breath and then we'll slide the leg back and we'll switch sides. And it'll go like this. Inhale together and then begin to slide your right leg. So we're coordinating the breath and the movement. So the exhale with the breath takes the whole time to extend the leg as long as it feels comfortable. And then we'll inhale again and do the same thing with the breath, drawing the foot back, the knee, the leg, the heel, all of it back to the starting position, like this. Inhaling. So, coordinating breath and movement is what gives yoga some of its magic. And slowing down both the movement and the breath allows us to work on strengthening. So, now we'll move to the left side. Inhaling, pausing here, we'll inhale, and then drawing back. Let's do that a few times to each side. We'll alternate. And I'd like you to work with your own speed. So you'll hear me doing my breath, but work at a pace that feels comfortable in your body. So we'll do it maybe two times to each side. So four total. Okay. Inhale it. So the next time you complete a set of two, pause there, and then we will continue together. So once you're ready and have gone through that movement, go ahead and walk your feet out a little wider. And we're just going to gently drop our knees from side to side, a windshield wiper action. And this helps us to release in our back. Now, why were we doing leg slides in a class about our back? Because we're working on engaging our lower abdominals. And the lower abdominals will support the low back and all of the organs and the musculature. And if we learn to control some of that leg movement with our abdominal muscles, then our backs will be able to let go and function in what they need to do in supporting and aligning our bodies. All right. That's a little oversimplified, but you get the idea. Come to stillness, and we're going to make our way, turn onto your side if that's comfortable, and then gently press yourself up. Now we're going to do some seated exercise. So you can sit on a cushion or a bolster or up on a chair. I'm going to grab my little bolster and draw it back here so that I have somewhere comfortable to sit. And if it's comfortable, sit cross-legged. Otherwise, you can sit with your legs out. If you're up in a chair, just take a comfortable position. But if you're on the chair, sit toward the edge, not at the edge, but a little closer to the edge so you have some room behind you. And let's start just by sitting up nice and tall. Inhale and lengthen your spine, reaching the crown of your head towards the sky. As you exhale, drop a little deeper. Feel the cushion below you, the chair below you, whatever's there. One more breath like that. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, soften. We're going to do another abdominal exercise that's called belly pull-ins. And it's just like it sounds. We're going to keep our posture as it is, and we're going to inhale, softening the belly. And then as we exhale, we're going to draw the abdominals back. Sometimes you'll hear people say your navel to your spine. Now, I have a lot in between, so I can't imagine that, but that's the direction, right? We're drawing in, we're drawing the pubic bone and the bottom of the sternum, towards each other, and then softening. Now that's the key: engagement and then release. All right. So we'll inhale first. And then exhale and draw the belly in. You can try the shh breath if you liked that, or you can just do a regular breath, drawing in. And then, inhale, sorry, we just exhaled, and soften, let it go. And then again, exhale, belly draws in. Hold for a couple of beats. And when you're ready to inhale, soften and let the belly expand. And we'll do that just 2 or 3 more times. You can work with your own breath speed, drawing in and softening and expanding, and maybe one more time. Exhale, drawing in and softening. Okay, we're going to move into some seated cat-cow. And if you are comfortable being on hands and knees in tabletop position, you can do the belly pull-ins there and then move into cat and cow. I'm going to save my knees today and do this in a seated position. So we'll inhale in place, and then as we exhale, think about tucking your tail underneath you. Imagine you have a tail, and drawing those abdominals back like we just did. Your chin might come down a little bit. And then hands on your knees. As you inhale, first think of pushing your tail behind you and then stretching all the way up the front of the body. Lift your heart, maybe reach through the crown of your head. You can gently pull back on your knees. And then again, exhale, tuck and create a gentle rounding to your back. We're not getting into any tight rounding, just a gentle rounding. And then inhale and a little bit of an arch. Exhale, belly draws in. Find some space between your shoulder blades. Inhale, pull back and open up the front of your body. Draw your shoulder blades towards each other. And just a couple more like this. We'll do just a few. Yeah, lovely. And this, or the next time that you come through center, pause here. Let's just do a little bit of breathing, a little sun breath. We'll float our arms up or out, and then turn palms down as we exhale. And maybe two more like that. Inhale, floating out or up, and exhale, softening. And this time, as you inhale and reach out or up, pause for a moment and then lower your left hand and come up and over with your right. If this is too much, you can always bend your elbow and place your hand at your neck or behind your head, or even keep your hand on your other hip. We'll take a breath here and open up the side body. Exhale here, and then use an inhale to come up and over to the other side. Stay for a breath. Inhale, expand through your waist and the side ribs. Exhale and curl, and then inhale back up. One more time to each side, staying for a breath. Inhale, open the side body. Exhale, curl, and once more to the other side. Inhale up through center and release arms down. We're going to move up to standing. So take your time and use whatever props you need to get yourself up. I'm going to work with my blocks, and you can follow along if you'd like, if you have blocks. So I'll do it right in front. Blocks are here. I'm going to come onto my knees just briefly. You may or may not have comfort with that. And step 1 foot forward. I can press into my blocks and use them to help me come all the way up to standing. All right. We're going to start in our standing postures with some alignment. And I like to use a block for this. I didn't say this at the beginning, but I like these foam blocks because they're light. And some people have cork blocks or even wooden blocks. And I always worry with those. First of all, they're hard on the body, and then they can fall and hit your feet. So if you have that kind of block, please be super careful. And I recommend these. So I'm going to take a block and put it between my shins. So it's below my knees, above my ankles, and I have it at that sort of medium width. And from here, I'm going to gently hug the block, but not so much that I'm squeezing it. I'm just kind of holding it in place, keeping it from dropping. My feet and legs should be about hip distance apart. And when I say hip, I mean from the hip joint down, right? Hands can be on the tops of your hips. And I encourage you to very gently rock. Tiny movement, just forward and back. Feeling your heels, feeling the balls of your feet. Come to a center point between those two movements and rock a little side to side. We're just finding our center here. And pause. Now, release your arms down and let's get a little more active in this hug. We're hugging the block in, and we're engaging through our inner thigh muscles, lifting up the pelvic floor and the low belly, keeping this nice integration between the bottom of the ribs and the pubic bone and the pelvis all coming together, not tucking, but a nice feeling of support here. Then we can lift our hearts, reach down through our fingertips, and reach up through the crown of the head. Tadasana, mountain pose, getting nice and steady. This is a wonderful pose for alignment work, for strength, and for stability as we're standing on our feet. Okay. From here, soften and let that go. Don't drop your block just yet. And then see if you can come back into the engagement, pressing down through your feet, hugging in, lifting, keeping everything together, reaching down, and there we go. Okay, now soften. You can remove your block and bring it between your feet. Okay, we're going to hug in again. Feels different at the feet, but you still have some of the same ability to engage and get those sensations. We're going to move into a balance pose called tree pose or vrikshasana. And I invite you to make sure you have the support you need. For some people, using the block is enough. Others will need a wall or a sturdy chair, a piece of furniture. So you decide what you need, gather that stuff, and come back and let's move into chair pose. So we start with Tadasana. Let's take a breath, inhaling and reaching out or up. Palms meet, exhale, and bring hands to heart center. You can stay here or have one hand on your heart and the other on your support, on your chair, your wall, whatever support you need. Now, from here, with all of this engagement, going to just shift our center of gravity so it's over the right leg. That frees up the left. I can bend my knee and come up onto the ball of my foot. From here, I'm going to turn the leg out from the hip and rest my heel on the block. Pause here and see, you can gather in, hug in. See if this is your tree pose. If you would like to take it to the next balance level, you can bring the ball of your foot onto the block, or you can bring the sole of your foot above or below your knee. I like to work with the block. I think it's a good medium place. Keep hugging in and then begin to imagine that you're drawing energy up from the ground. And it's your breath, and the breath lifts up all the way through the crown of your tree and out through your branches. Now, I forgot to tell you to have your eyes. Oh my goodness, that's my computer talking to me. I forgot to instruct you to have your eyes on a focal point. So please come in and out as you need to, as we described. So a focal point allows us to rest our eyes on something and it helps with balance. So something on your horizon line. Okay, we've been here a long time. So big breath and then with great control, come back to center. You might need to shake out your legs. Come back in and re-engage. You can even take another sun breath if you'd like. Hugging in, shift the center of gravity over the left leg to free the right, and find your foot position on this side. Eyes on your focal point, your drishti. Keep hugging in. Nice and stable. Come in and out as much as you need to. Use a support as needed. And see if you can find a moment of calm here. Hugging in. And allow the energy to rise, the breath to flow, reaching up through the canopy, the crown of your tree, and branches, maybe one branch, maybe two. Big breath in. And then with control, exhale back to center. Now, working with one-legged poses can help us identify when there's an imbalance. So in my case, I'm much more stable on my right leg. My left leg, I tend to drop my pelvis a little bit. So I'm aware of the difference. And by working one side and then the other, I get to strengthen each one where it is, right? And eventually they'll come together and be strong. All right. Let's see. I'd like to do a couple more standing poses, and I'm going to use a chair. The chair is going to be my prop as a place to land in the sequence I'd like to do. So we're going to start with a forward fold. I'm going to grab some water. I talk and then I need some water. You might need some too. Standing, facing the chair seat. For me, this is the right height, and you'll see if it is for you. I want you to stand with your feet maybe a little wider than hip distance. And we're going to work on using a flat back as we come forward. So watch first. Some of you who may be doing a lot of exercise and yoga may be experiencing a lot of curling or bending from the waist. But here we're going to hinge from the hips. So I'll inhale and reach. And then exhale, beginning to come forward. You might bring your hands to your thighs and think about pressing this back, reaching behind you with your tailbone, and then seeing if you can bring your hands to the chair seat. Now, in order to maintain the flat back, you might need to bend your knees. And that allows me to come a little deeper with a long spine. My knees are bent. My tailbone is reaching behind me. My sits bones at the bottom of my pelvis are reaching back and a little bit apart. And this is our forward fold. To come out, I'll bend my knees even more and use either the chair or walking my hands up my body to come up to stand. And you can see how this flat back forward fold pose can really strengthen the back muscles. We'll use that same engagement of the abdominals that we've kind of woken them up for this purpose. And then we can come into our forward fold and come up out of our forward fold, strengthening through the back muscles. Let's do it one more time. Inhale and reach. Exhale, reach forward. You can bring your hands to your thighs or to your chair. And keep hinging at the hips, thinking of sending the hip creases deeper, tailbone behind you, crown of head reaching long. From here, you can bend your knees. Maybe you'll come a little further. Maybe you could come a little further. Again, we're working on lengthening the spine and hinging at the hips. Now to come out, bend your knees and walk yourself up, hinging, right? We're not curling up. We're coming up with a long spine. And part of the reason we do this is that people of a certain age, which I am, you may be as well, and people who have gone through cancer treatment can have issues with bone density. And sometimes they don't know that until they have a fracture. And so we work very carefully. This strengthening helps our bone density, but we don't want to get into a tight curl because that can sometimes cause fractures. We want to work with a nice long spine. All right, now we're going to use this forward fold in a half sun salutation, Surya Namaskar. It's a very classic sequence of poses in yoga. And we'll go through a series of movements and I will direct you. It's pretty much doing that forward fold, but with a couple of added bits. So take a moment to get nice and grounded. Find your Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale and reach. Exhale, begin your forward fold, hinging at the hips. Hands come to your surface, maybe your knees bend. Once you arrive, inhale and lengthen your spine wherever you are. That's sometimes called the half lift. Exhale, maybe you have a little more space to go a little deeper. And then as you inhale, bend your knees and come all the way back up. Exhale, hands to heart center. That's the whole thing. We'll go through that 2 more times. I'll direct or I'll lead. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to your support. Let your knees bend. Inhale, lengthen your spine from tailbone to crown. Exhale, maybe you come a little bit deeper into the forward fold. Inhale, bend your knees and come all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. One more time through. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward fold, hinging. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold, maybe a little deeper. And then inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Beautiful job. Shake that out. And we're going to move back down to the floor. Now, you can use your chair if you can put your knees down. Otherwise, please take your own route. I can use the chair to allow me to come down through a lunge and then find my way to a seat. We'll start for just a moment in a seated position, and we'll extend our legs in front. Now, you may notice that you need your fingertips behind you for support. And if you're rolling onto your tailbone, then you'll want to either sit up a little higher, like maybe on that flat pillow or folded blanket, or if you have space, grab your strap. I have a wall behind me, so I can use this wall to give me that support that I need. Now, I'd like you to take your strap, and I'm going to do one leg at a time. I'm going to start by lassoing my right foot at either at the arch or up at the ball of the foot, whatever feels comfortable. And I'm going to hold on to my strap. I have this wonderful strap that has handholds, but otherwise you might wrap it around your hand. I'm going to hold on. And I'm just going to draw back, flexing through my foot so that I can sit up nice and tall. Now, I may be at the wall, but right now my back is not against the wall. I'm sitting up tall. Now, exhale and release. If this is too much on your knees, because some of us having that extension in our knees is not great, then you can take a blanket or small pillow and roll it and put it underneath your knees. Or you can just work with a little bend in your knees. Okay, let's go to the other leg. And we'll do the same thing again. Lassoing and gently pulling back to help us sit tall. Again, remember, bend your knee a little bit if it feels like too much pressure behind your knee. And then release. Now we're going to do this with both feet. So I'm not releasing the left. I'm just going to add the right in here. I'm going to try. Maybe the feet come a little closer together. Same instruction. Pull back to help you sit nice and tall. Let your knees bend. In fact, you can bend your knees up pretty high. And then maybe slide them a little forward, maybe a little more. And that is a nice way sometimes to get into this Dandasana, seated staff pose. One more breath, and then release. Okay, lovely. We're going to make our way down onto our backs. Make sure that you have your, let's see, we'll need our block for this next sequence, and then we'll be moving into our rest pose, Shavasana. So have whatever you like for that. That might be a bolster for under your knees, a pillow for your head, maybe a blanket, an eye pillow, all kinds of nice options for Shavasana. So making your way down onto your back for our final sequence. Make sure you have your block and come back into that same position we started in with knees bent, feet on the floor, feet and knees about hip distance apart. This time we're going to take our block and bring it between our thighs, hands down at your sides, no pillow right now for this, or something very flat. And we'll start by just squeezing the block and then releasing, holding on enough to keep the block in place, right? And then squeeze again and soften and release. And maybe once more, squeeze again and soften. And now we're going to add a little bridge movement. So again, hands down at your sides, feet close to the body. As you squeeze the block, press into your feet and lift your hips. It can be just an inch off of the mat. And then exhale and soften the squeeze, place your hips back down. Inhale again, squeeze, press into your feet and lift your hips. Maybe you'll come a little higher or maybe the same. Press down with your hands, your arms for support. And then slowly make your way back down. And we'll continue with this lifting and lowering a few times. You might lift and hold for your exhale. Keep squeezing that block. Inhale, press up, maybe a little higher. And exhale, come all the way down. Maybe 5 more breaths, however you'd like to use them. Lifting and lowering, staying down and squeezing, or lifting up and holding and then lowering. Take your time and complete your bridge practice. And when you come to the end of the next breath or sequence, pause there. Maybe you'll remove the block and bring it to the side. Walk your feet out a little wider, and maybe just a gentle windshield wipering to release your hips and legs, your low back. And then begin to notice if there are any finishing poses that your body is craving. Is there a movement that your body wants to make? It doesn't have to be a pose, it can just be a movement. You might want to draw your knees in, rock. You might take a happy baby or a half a happy baby pose if that's part of your practice. You might want a figure 4 stretch. There are lots of options. You might be ready to begin to move into Shavasana. So finish up your practice and then begin to find your Shavasana pose. And again, that might be lying on your back with a bolster under your knees. It might be even lying on your side with nice pillows for support. What will serve you for some rest? And as you begin to arrive in the final pose of Shavasana, I invite you to take another moment to notice. Notice what is present now. What has changed? What has remained the same? Of what do you become aware as you quiet in this moment? Take your time, beginning to release, letting each exhale help you soften. Eyes can be closed if you're comfortable, or soft gaze. Letting the breath help you settle. The inhales, expansive, and the exhales, releasing, letting go through your feet and ankles, your legs, your hips, your low back and low belly, your middle body. Let your heart be open. Soften between your shoulder blades and let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Soften your neck and shoulders and your jaw and the muscles of your face, around your eyes, between your eyebrows, smoothing out your forehead and softening the crown of the head. Release, relax, and just let go. We'll come into some quiet time, and then we'll end the class after that. I hope you find some good rest. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing small movements into fingers and toes, arms and hands, legs and feet. Slowly roll your head from side to side. And if you are lying down, roll to one side and just pause. And when you feel ready, pressing into your hands, make your way slowly back up to sitting. Allow your attention to remain deeply inward for another moment or two. We'll seal our practice with one chant of Om for the community we create when we share our practice. Bringing hands together, we'll inhale. Om. Om Shanti, peace, peace, peace. Jai Bhagwan. May the light in each of us be victorious. Thank you so much for sharing your practice today.